Hello and welcome back to Emily Cat 176. It's Wednesday, and Wednesday means poetry. And we are having the craziest weather here in Melbourne because the forecast for Sunday is 30 degrees. 30 degrees in April. It's crazy. So at the moment we're sort of still in jumpers and cardigans and such. But if it's going to be 30, good time to stay inside and listen to some poetry. So today I have a poem by John Clare, and it is called What is Life? So, and what is life? An hourglass on the run, a mist retreating from the morning sun, a busy, bustling, still repeated dream, its length a minute's pause, a moment's thought. And happiness, a bubble on the stream, that in the act of seizing shrinks to naught. And what is hope? The puffing gale of morn, that of its charms divests the dewy lawn, and robs each floweret of its gem and dyes, a cobweb hiding disappointment's thorn, which stings more keenly through the thin disguise. And what is death? Is still the cause unfound, that dark mysterious name of horrid sound, a long and lingering sleep the weary crave. And peace, where can its happiness abound? Nowhere at all, save heaven and the grave. Then what is life, when stripped of its disguise? A thing to be desired it cannot be, since everything that meets our foolish eyes gives proof sufficient of its vanity. 'Tis but a trial all must undergo, to teach unthankful mortals how to prize, turning pages, that happiness vain man's denied to know, until he's called it in the skies. What is Life? By John Clare. What did you think of that one? And do you agree with any of his observations? Now, of course, John Clare, he was around in the 1700s. And he wasn't. 1793 to 1864. And this is a collection of bird's nest poems. And John Clare was known as the Northamptonshire peasant poet. So he's English, of course. But it's interesting when you go back and look at these older poets, because life has changed so much now, hasn't it? And I mean, some things stay the same, of course. Like the poem last week. He was an English poet and he was talking about English autumn. And this is a man who's talking about what life means, probably in the early 1800s, I'd say. So, yeah, it's interesting when you look back at these things, because, of course, as I said, life has changed so much. And everything, of course, at the moment is in turmoil and distress. So, yeah, I read through it and I thought, yes, that's a good poem. And I like finding all these poets. And I think poetry, in a certain degree, the same as authors. It doesn't matter how old the piece is, especially if they're talking about themes, human emotions, they never really change. I mean, we as human beings, we have certain traits that can be changed, but human emotion and the soul, can that really change? Because you look at the Shakespeare plays and they're as relevant today as what they were back then because of the themes that he is talking about. But a trial all must undergo. Well, that's true. We all must undergo this life, because what is the alternative? So let me know if you've heard of John Clare. I have to admit I hadn't. This is part of the fun, as I said, of these poetry on Wednesday. I'm looking at all this poetry and I'm finding all these new poets to me. Not to anyone else, but to me. And I find that really interesting. So that is it for Wednesday. Thank you to everyone who's watching. The channel is slowly going up. And again, I would ask if you are interested in what I do, consider subscribing, but only if you want to. So I'll be back on Friday. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you then. Bye.